Honeybees are involved in the pollination of around 35% of crops globally. So factors that affect the health of honeybee colonies are of prime importance to agriculture in general and of course to the beekeeping and pollination industry within the United States. There are high rates of colony loss in honeybees, and for example, a figure from last year showed that over 37.5% of commercially used colonies died over the winter in that year alone. So it's a really high loss rate occurring on an annual basis, which is incredibly costly to the industry and of course raises other concerns about the general sustainability of the practice. And that's really where my research comes in, because I'm interested in looking at what are the key factors causing these high levels of honeybee loss. By sampling colonies over the course of 2 years, traveling to different parts of the country, we were able to collect an extensive data set looking at all of the potential causes of colony loss, from diseases to agrochemical and pesticide exposure, to parasites, and of course just to environmental conditions themselves, such as the weather. One of the most important factors is in fact the parasitic mite known as Varroa destructor. Great name, pretty self-explanatory. These mites are an invasive species that jumped from the Asian honeybee to the European one, and they absolutely decimate colonies of bees. And the way they do that is by feeding on the fat of the bees. Now, it gets worse than that, because the mites themselves transmit a number of viruses which are also known to kill the bees. And we're seeing really that this interaction between the mites and also the viruses they transmit is the strongest single extraneous predictor of colony losses from our data. One thing that really came to the fore was that, along with some of these other diseases and exposure to chemicals, depending on what part of the country the bees are being held in and what crop systems they're in, the different stresses they're going to be exposed to really vary widely, which makes it quite difficult in many cases to come up with a single solution to many of the issues. So the factors that may affect one apiary or one beekeeper might be totally different from the factors that affect another. Although there's quite a concerning situation for honeybee health currently, still at this very moment, there are definitely some promising solutions on the horizon with the rollout of potentially resistant stocks. And research like this really helps to define the problem and let us know really where we should best place our effort and what issues are the most important to consider in these very complex systems.